Welcome to Houston Newsmakers and to anchor Keith Garvin, who I'm honored to get up this morning and join me.
Honor's all mine, sir, yes.
Hey, but it's a good topic. We're talking about people, a very interesting group of people in Mexico who've been celebrating Juneteenth for about as long as we have, starting in the late 1800s. Who are these people?
Okay, these are the Negros Moscogos. They are from a town called Nacimiento de los Negros in Coahuila, the state there. It's probably about 110 miles away from the Texas border. And again, as you mentioned, they've been there actually since the 1850s. And quite the journey. They are a mix, a really unique mix today of African, Mexican, and Seminole Native American. And they started off in South Carolina and Georgia as freedmen, but also some escaped slaves who made their way into Florida territory. And they were taken in by the Florida Seminoles. And through that, they were taken in. They had a lot of independence, but they did a lot of things with the Seminoles, and they ended up with, as happens in a lot of the case, there was intermarriage and just a lot of working together. And then when the Trail of Tears happened, a large number of them were forced to, but they were able to make it to Oklahoma. But because of their noticeably darker skin, they were constantly under the threat of being taken back into slavery by slave traders. And so they didn't have safety in Oklahoma, and then they moved into Texas for a little while, still didn't have that safety there. They were ordered to leave a U.S. Army camp that they had been a part of, and they had actually been helping the U.S. Army. They were ordered to leave to go turn themselves back into slavery. And they said, no, that's not going to happen. So their leaders then brought them into Mexico in 1850. And the Mexican government made a deal with them. They said, okay, if you defend the northern border and you take on Mexican names, we will give you land, we will give you cattle, we will give you tools, and the land will be yours. And Mexico made good on the promise. So they've been there ever since.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Let's talk about the area where this community exists today and the kind of lifestyle that they're living. Looking at some of the video that you brought back, it looks like mostly rural existence. And you say that they've been living in this region since about the 1850s or so. Talk about your impression of the lives that they're living and the meal you were able to share with them as well. And,
yes.
And some of these descendants who, basically American slavery and the Native American Trail of Tears transition, some of them actually made it here. Now they've got a freedom that they wouldn't have had in the United States.
Without doubt. And they're so very proud of their culture, of their heritage, of their history, and they fully embrace all three parts of their culture, the Seminole, the African, and also the Mexican, of course. They're just very proud people, and there right now about 300 people live in the communities. A lot of people have left. As we know, a lot of folks have left Mexico over the years seeking work because of the economy in other places, including here in Texas. But there are a number of them who were born and raised there who now live in parts of Texas, but they travel back to Nacimiento on a regular basis because they want to keep that connection.
Well, I noticed you had some pictures with some of the folks there. One of them, you said, who's that gentleman?
So this is Juan Torralba. He's a 75-year-old resident. He's born and raised in Nacimiento, still lives there. And his daughter has been one of the ones who's been very, very instrumental in making sure their heritage, their culture is not forgotten.
You got a chance to meet with some of the leaders there too. This is the mayor?
Yes, this is Mayor Juan Hidalgo. The town is run by a mayor, and he has a treasurer and a few other advisors of elders. And then in the middle there is Karina Torralba. That's Mr. Torralba's daughter, and she has been so instrumental over the years in connecting to that culture, that heritage, and making sure not only does the rest of the world start to know about Nacimiento, but even the younger people who were there, she doesn't want them to forget and not know about their heritage.
Well, I noticed in some of the pictures you showed me, there were murals that showed there's a reflection of some of the heritage there too, of some of those, the people who are there. There's that picture, there's another picture as well, that really just kind of shows it's a colorful community.
Oh, without a doubt, yes. And again, as I said, they fully embrace all the aspects of their culture. They love the fact that they are Mexicans, but they also love the fact that they have their African and their Seminole heritage as well. And they sing so many songs. Many of their traditions, the way they started celebrating Juneteenth is because it was a form of solidarity, because they had their freedom for the most part, even though they were still under the threat of being taken back into slavery, because they weren't that far back from the Texas border, of course. And there were some incursions by slave traders. They knew they were there, and there were attempts to take them at certain times. But even though the Mexican government had said, hey, these are our citizens, The reason they started celebrating Juneteenth is once they heard about it, they started celebrating as an act of solidarity, but also relief as well, because they said, hey, okay, now that we know slaves are free in Texas, we are no longer under threat of being taken back in ourselves. And that's when the party began.
You know what, Ray, I want you to roll some other video here, but we're almost finished with this. I know that when you're excited about this. This is a very interesting story, and you're going to be coming back. You're going to be doing some stories here for our viewers over the next several days as we get toward Juneteenth, talking about this story that you dealt with. Tell us about those segments and what people can look forward to.
Yes, yeah, we're actually going to have a special on June 19th on Monday, tomorrow as a matter of fact. And we're going to do a 30-minute special at 4:30, and then we'll have that special re-air on our KPRC 2 Plus live stream in a special there. And we're going to be talking about how in the world they started celebrating Juneteenth in Mexico, which a lot of people really are surprised by. And then the second story is going to be really about how they are still working really, really hard to make sure that they preserve their heritage, not only for the sake of the younger folks, but they want other people around their country and around the world to know about them as well.
It's a good reason for all of you to join in and watch the coverage over the next couple of days here. Thank you, Keith. Watch for those stories on our KPRC 2 at 4:30 and also our live streaming platform as well. Thank you, sir.
Hey, my pleasure.